we have two type categories of people, and you really need to know the category you belong to. We have
I
the
favor, sorry, please, sorry to interrupt you, and sorry to bother you. Can you just please do a recap? Because you were really, really breaking when you started, and people could barely hear you or make sense
all
of what you were saying. So if we could just start from the very beginning, if that's not a bother, so we can also get a proper record of it that both of us can use.
all right, it's fine. So
Thank you.
I want to welcome you all to the section Introduction to Upcycling Materials and Techniques. So I know this is not the first time you are hearing about upcycling. You can move to the next slide, please. This is not the first time you are hearing about upcycling. This is a word you've come across. So at this junction, I want you to imagine in your mind of imagination one item in your room, in your space that you consider a waste. It could be a bottle of drink. It could be maybe a can of tomato. It could be a furniture that you are about to discard. Anything you consider waste, just think about it in your mind. And I want to um, ask you this question. What else could this thing become? That plastic waste you thought of right now in your mind, what else? What can it be transformed into? So at the end of this class, we'll be able to know how to upcycle this waste into something practical, into something we can sell. Because when it comes to waste to wealth, waste can only become wealth if we can sell. Waste can only become wealth if we can produce a product that is desirable to people. And this brings us to the difference between upcycling and recycling. When it comes to upcycling, you can actually detect is converting waste into a new product. But this product in upcycling, you can actually identify this waste. For example, when you transform a tire into a luxury chair, at some point you can actually touch the region where the tire was actually used. But when it comes to recycling, this waste is actually turned into a new entire product that could be used as raw material. Just for example, in my business, I turn plastic waste into shoe polish. When it's now shoe polish, you can no longer identify if this region is the plastic region or this region is not the plastic region, just like you could identify in a luxury chair made from tire. So basically, the difference between recycling and upcycling is it's wide. Yes. And before you consider going into recycling or going into upcycling, you have to identify the kind of category of or the group you belong to. So we have those who are social innovators and we have those who are scientific innovators. Now, what is the difference? A social innovator is someone who looks at waste in the environment. Just like I said, we should imagine the waste we have in our mind, like in our spaces. So a social innovator imagine and then comes up with processes, comes up with program that could reduce waste. For example, you could look at a community where waste is always flooding the water, let me say the river area, and then um, come up with programs like clean up plastic in the water. And then they gather this plastic and sell it off to companies. That is a social innovator. There is nothing you are breaking down. There's nothing you are upcycling. There's nothing you are touching in the process. But for the scientific innovator, that scientific innovator, you have to go through process. A scientific innovator is involved in breaking down these products into a new product. Like you are actively involved in production. So in the chat region, I want you to identify, are you a social innovator or you are a scientific innovator. This brings us to the next slide. So when we talk about upcycling, it's something anybody can go into. You don't need to read chemistry. You don't need to read any scientific any scientific course. All you just need to have is passion. And after having that passion, the next thing you need to do is to go into production. Upcycling transforms unwanted materials into something new, into something useful, and into something valuable. The key to upcycling is creativity. Most times I jokingly tell those around me that when it is time for me to leave the earth, maybe at my old age, that I want to make sure that by that time I've exhausted all the talents in me so that I'll return empty. Because when we when it comes to creativity, it is in this earth we can actually unleash our potential, unleash our creativity. So we must not be scared. Even sometimes when it comes to experimentation could be very costly, but you have to put in the work. You have to make sure that your creativity doesn't go back with you. Now, a quick question. For you right now, what is the difference between reusing a bottle and upcycling a bottle? Please put it on, I want answers on the chat region. To you, what is the difference between upcycling a bottle and reusing or recycling a bottle? Upscaling makes us see things differently, from waste to creativity to new products. So there are a lot of things. It's not just plastic that could be recycled. Please, the next slide. There are other things that could be recycled because I'm aware that a lot of us are in different sectors. Some of us are in agriculture. Some persons are into textile industry. They are fashion designers. So a lot of products could be recycled, could be upcycled and recycled. So plastic could be upcycled and also be recycled. For example, a plastic could be upcycled into a flower vase. A plastic can be recycled into shoe polish. A plastic can be recycled into marine rope. Yes. Then for textile could be upcycled into artwork. Textile could be recycled into tissue paper. Then we'll get to the paper. Paper could be upcycled into artwork too. And paper could also be recycled into, let me say, a, a process in production of a chair. For glass could also be upcycled into a aesthetic or artwork. Glass could also be recycled into tiles in the house. For metal, the upcycling and the recycle process is there are so many opportunities. And for agricultural waste, there are a lot. In fact, currently I'm building a brand called Vocal Bean 2-in-1 Bean Flour. Vocal Bean Flour is used to make our popular akara moi moi. So most times when we finish processing, the waste, we then arrange it into another product that we use in farm feed. So now, when it comes to agriculture, after producing, after production, after harvesting, these raw materials could also be used. For example, sugarcane could be used to produce even textile. It could be used to produce material. It all depends on how far you can think. How far you can think depends on the environment you surround yourself with. Because when you are when you are in an environment that inspires you, it inspires you to go further. You don't have to wait for other people to create that environment for you. No, you have to create that environment yourself. We have the internet space, and by now I'm aware that on the internet space, most times the things you always search on for on Google, those are the things that comes around you like an ad. Maybe you're always searching for recycling agricultural waste. Most of the adverts that will be coming would be that kind of thing. So that shows you that the sites you interact with now um now programs your phone and your interaction online to saying, okay, this is what this person does. So program your mind, and your creativity can create possibilities. Your creativity can even buy you your dream house. I want you to think, out of all these materials I listed, which of these material is most common in your community? Please, the next slide. And when we talk about upcycling, we talk about recycling, some persons feel like, oh, this is big grammar. But no, this is not big grammar, because this can actually yield into and boost our economy. There are a lot of businesses that are now introducing um, a lot of things like the three arrows: recycling, reuse, and reduce. So this company, they make sure that when they are producing, the production line is being streamlined, that they reduce, yes, this is a slide, they reduce the waste they throw out. For example, let's talk about a company that is into production of palm oil. So that palm fruit, they can actually reduce waste by producing the exact quantity they want. After producing the exact quantity they want, converting that palm fruit into palm oil, that palm nut can actually be reused. You know, they could crack it, and the nut inside could be used to produce oil. There is a special oil. It looks like groundnut oil, but no, it's not groundnut oil. They use it for industrial processes. So that oil could be reused into cosmetics. Apart from that, the crack at the back that is being cracked from palm fruit could also be used in construction and could also be used in other sector. So this brings us to recycling. When it comes to recycling, the process now goes into another product. You understand? So that back, I believe if research is done very well, that palm kernel shaft, that kernel shell can even be used to make tiles. Yes, it depends on how far we are ready to take creativity to. So you see, at the end of the day, it's an economy that one sector result to another sector and nothing is wasted. So if you are in any industry, whether you are in the fashion industry, whether you are in agricultural industry, whether you are in whatever production you are, or in your own house, even in your own kitchen, particularly I believe that climate action begins from our kitchen. Yes, because if we are able to bring in these three arrows principle into our kitchen, it then inspires us to bring them into our daily life. Hey, my phone don't off.
Hi, Miss Favor. You went off for a while. Are you still with us?
Okay, everyone, apologies. Let's give Miss Favor a little while us to join us back. Hi, everyone. In the meantime, while we await Miss Favor's presence, so I want us to quickly do something brief, something interactive, and so this is what will happen. I'm going to call people randomly to answer this question. It's just like a check-in question or like an icebreaker. But I mean, this is happening in between the session. So the question is, what is one country that you would like to visit one day, or a country that you're really interested in, or that you really love stuff about them? It could be their history, it could be like the fact that they have beautiful places, anything at all. So if you'd like to talk and, tell us, if you'd like to tell us what country you'd love to visit or one country you're really interested in, please raise your hand or you can use the chat. So I'm waiting. I would love to hear from us. What country you'd like to visit? What country are you really interested in? Or any country that you really love, like something at all about them. Yes, Akinat, thank you for opening the floor. You can unmute your mic. Tell us your name, where you're joining from, and the country that you'd love to visit.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi,
My name is Sakina Olanike, and I'm joining from Lagos State.
cool. Yes, sir.
And yeah, the country I would love Santorini because of the beautiful and aesthetic. Most of the aesthetic places are painted white, so white is my favorite color, and I've always eyed that place. Oh my god, I want to be in Santorini one day with my family. Thank you.
Oh, cool. Santorini. Santorini is in Greece. You have ice for good stuff. I love that.
Yes.
Santorini is in and it's a really beautiful place. I would love to visit Santorini one day as well. And for sure, I love like the aesthetics, the white ambience. Everything is painted in white, colorful um paints. Yes. And another country that has something similar to that is Morocco and other North African countries, Morocco especially. And I think this other Arab country that is in North Africa, it's not Turkey, but I can't quite recall right now. So, but then I'm going to leave it at that. If there's anyone that would like to tell us what country they would really love to visit, please. Oh, thank you, Hamsatu. Hamsat said she would love to visit Saudi, Turkey, and Qatar. Interesting. You would go to these places one day very soon by God's grace. Of course, Saudi is a very beautiful place. I hope to be in Turkey sometimes this year by God's grace. And Qatar, yes, one day. One day we'll all be there. We'll all be there. Hi, Joy. Thank you. Yours is Dubai. Just to stand at
Oh,
the building and view the world from up there. Goals, goals. I really love that. Of course, of course. There is this twin tower in Dubai, and which of the places would you love to be? Is it Burj Khalifa? Which of the places you can mention, like one specific uh building that you'd love to go to in Dubai? Let us know in the chat.
hi everyone.
Hi, hi.
I'm sorry for this break. This is getting embarrassing.
Oh, Miss Favor, welcome back. Yeah, we're trying to like have a breather before you join us back, but it's good to have you back here. So I think we can um continue. Yes, Rachel, thank you. China, we'll talk about this. We'll take this up sometimes later. So thank you all for responding, and we can now get back to the session. Miss Favor, over to you.
All right, the next slide, please. So, when it comes to, I made mention that when it comes to circular economy, the 3 R's begins from our kitchen. Climate action begins from our kitchen because we are able to incorporate the 3 R's in our kitchen. We can also incorporate it into our daily businesses. And this brings me to my story. Yes. So when it comes to, please, the slide where I said my story. So when it comes to climate action, we all became inspired at different parts through different journey. Mine in particular was in 2022. I was posted to Bayelsa State, Nigeria. So when I got there, I was a core member there. The third month, the state was already experiencing flooding. That was the first time I was experiencing flooding. In fact, when the water entered the room, it was so bad that I thought maybe water was leaking in the kitchen. So I went to bring mop. But it was at that point my neighbor came up and was like, there is flood. Call members, pack now, all those kind of stuff. So the thing we could just pick was just our certificate because other things could actually be replaced. So we left. But the thing is, by the time we came back to that house in the morning, water had risen to the window level. And then as we tried to recover, plastic had blocked the drainage system. It was at that point I realized that plastic was working against humanity. Before, I didn't know it was that bad. The flooding could not go off because plastic had blocked drainage system. So with my background in chemistry, I started carrying out research on how to turn this plastic problem into a product. So after months, about 24 months of experiments, yes, I came up with a product which is Vocal Shoe Polish. Now, Vocal Shoe Polish is now a product and it serves professionals. It serves uniformed men and women, those in the military. And this innovation was inspired by a problem. So the reason why I'm saying this story is that there may be a challenge around you caused by waste. I think it is time to look at that problem as a possibility. It could be plastic. It could be metal. It could even be the carbon you feel it's being released into the environment. It could even be anything you could imagine that you think is a problem, you think is an environmental problem. It can become a business. So when we started this section the first time, I made mention that, we should imagine a waste in our environment. And then at some point I asked, what problem do you see as what waste do you see as a problem in your community? So now I'm asking, what is another material that can become a product? For me, it was plastic that had blocked the drainage system, and it made flooding very difficult. And I asked myself a question: what could become of this plastic? And then I started, with my background in science, I started carrying out research, and I came up with products. You may not be a scientist, but you may be fueled by passion. And passion can bring possibility. So think of that problem, ask yourself a question, and experiment. I know experiment takes money, but then you could bootstrap. You could work, and then you could also be dropping some parts, and you could use that for experiments. Or you could even apply for grants, and luckily you could even get it. But one thing that I know about grants is most investors, they want to see what you have done yourself. They want to see that you personally, you've invested in this thing before they know if they can also invest in it. So you have to take the first bold step. Please, the next slide. And then upcycling at this point should be a watchword. It is your turn to create. So look at this slide. I want you to choose one material that inspires you. It could be plastic, it could be textile, it could be paper, it could be glass, it could be metal, it could be agricultural waste, it could even be something I did not even add to this slide. As far as your mind can think, you can achieve. Ask yourself this question: what waste material am I choosing? What waste material is inspiring me? What waste material do I see as a problem? And you ask yourself, what problem does this create? For example, apart from blocking the drainage system, plastic also in the sea is a serious problem, because those creatures in the sea, most times when they start reproducing, this plastic, they swallow it, and then it actually reduces some species that are supposed to be in the sea. Yes, and it could even suffocate some of them to death. Ask yourself, what can I create from this waste? And the big question is, who would use them? Who will buy them? Most people, when they create things, they'll say, as long as it's okay to me, it's fine. No, when it comes to product you want to sell, do a sample, give to people, and let them criticize, give you a constructive criticism. Because for your brand to stand, don't forget that the other brands, it has to stand and be able to go through constructive criticism, then you reconstruct so that you'll be a giant. So who will buy this thing? That's why sometimes when people go for an exhibition, on their exhibition stand, nobody comes there, because some of the things they are producing, even if it's artwork, it's not compelling. It's not something. If it's even kept in a house, it can even scare a child. Do you understand? So you have to produce something people can buy. It doesn't mean your imaginations are not valid, but give it to people and then reconstruct. Imagine the vehicle we have different type of vehicle, but that was not the reality of vehicle when vehicle was just introduced. Imagine computers. The first time computers were produced, it occupied a whole house. But now, we could carry our laptops and desktop and even put in a space, in a table, and it's enough. So give way for constructive criticism as you create sample. Please, the next slide. And we must remember that the journey of life is something that we not just live in ourselves. The step you take today, you are a lot of people that are attached to your progress. There are a lot of people attached to your destiny. Failure for you to be creative, those people will not be inspired, and it's even leave their drop them. So if no, don't even think about yourself. Think about those people that are looking up to you. Some persons, when you ask them, oh, why are you doing this thing? They'll think my mom inspired me, oh, my dad inspired me. Their dad didn't call them and say, come, John, I'm inspiring you. No, it was the step their dad made. It was the step their elder sister made that they saw and said, okay, I'm going to go beyond this. I want you to repurpose, innovate, transform waste into opportunity for a sustainable future. In many African nations, we are talking of unemployment, but you are the next big green employer of labor. There are other sectors, agriculture. Organic waste like food scrap can be composed and turned into nutrients, rich fertilizers, and supporting sustainable farming while reducing waste. Nowadays, when you go and price broiler in the Nigerian market, it's very expensive. Why? Because the production of food, farm feed, yes, that feed is expensive. So imagine you come up with a formula that is cheaper and you are also making profit, maybe at least 30% profit, because for a business to strive, you have to make at least 30% profit. If not, you are doing you are not in business. So you could come up with a formula that is cheaper and then is nutritious, and it will also help to reduce the price of food and increase your customers. And then artists can create stunning works. We have a lot of artists that go online to sell their artwork in dollars, and they are inspired by environment, not only promoting sustainability, but they're also tapping into the growing market for eco-friendly art. Because when it comes to upcycling and recycling, it's exciting when you start making money from these things. So carpentry also is another sector, repurposing old wood into furniture. I know of a friend who she has a collection of flower vase and some other household items that can actually inspire you, and she makes them from furniture. They're really nice. When you see them, you would really want to pay for it. Yes. So if you are here and I haven't mentioned your passion, I didn't mention the area where your interest is, I'm very sorry. And I'm open for a discussion. You could slide into my DM, I could drop my Gmail, you could send a message. Let's have that conversation after this program. So this brings us to the next slide. And this is the last slide. I must say thank you very much, because this section was really something that the network was trying to terminate this, but at the end, thank God that he gave success. And this is a call. Don't just see waste. Train your eyes to see possibility. The next great business idea may be hidden in the very thing everyone else has overlooked. Thank you very much. And I'm open for questions. Thank you.
once again, Miss Favour. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking us through not just waste to wealth, but also your own personal journey. I actually enjoy that mix in the session so far. So thank you once again. Thank you for making this session a reality, or let me say a success against all odds, because network tried, Zoom tried at first. You were not able to share your screen and then network, but here we are. We have gone through the session and then we are right at the end. So hopefully we're able to conclude this session at the top of the hour. And right about now, if you have any questions, we'll be taking questions. So if you have any questions, you can raise your hand, or if you're more comfortable with the chat, you can then drop your questions in the chat. We'll be looking at the chat for any questions. So if you have any questions with regards to the presentation slides, something that she has said, something about your own personal journey, any idea that you have, something that you've seen somewhere, and you probably have questions about how it would work if you're to also try out that same thing when it comes to waste upcycling. Any confusions at all that you have, please do raise your hand and then feel free to ask a question. Cool. So I'll be looking out for any hands, and also I'll be checking the chat for any question. And while we're doing that, while we're in the middle of taking questions, I want you all to take notes that the post-assessment and attendance form has been sent into the chat. So yeah, you can go ahead and fill your form, but filling the form doesn't mean we're done with the session. We all know that filling the form can only happen on the call, because the form will not be sent to your group chat. So yeah, Sekinat, I can see your hands. We'll be having the first question from Sekinat. Sekinat, you can go ahead, unmute your mic and ask your question.
Hi, good evening once again. Thank you so much, our honorable and esteemed speaker, for that wonderful session. Even though the network is trying to intercede, but you remain focused and committed. So thank you so much. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. All right. So my question is, in my area, I live in Lagos Island, and there are several restaurants around, and they pour their water in the gutter. And sometimes when you are passing through, the gutters are really, really smelling. I mean, these are pungent smell that can actually make you throw up, right? So I begin to ask myself question like, what if this wastewater are being converted to something, what's it called? Something useful. So I made a research, and I was able to get something like a biogas and biohydrogen. Well, is one of the most explored waste management, especially wastewater management or organic waste management system. However, biohydrogen is still under explored when it comes to Nigeria, right? And even some parts of Africa. So, but when I get to like, sorry for the long talk. So when I get to like make my research, I realize that to generate biohydrogen from wastewater is not easy. I mean, it is capital intensive. So in this case, please, what do you think someone can do? Because it's something I'm really, really willing to explore. And it's also a solution, not only to the restaurants themselves, but to the people in that area, right? So please, what do you think I can do? Thank you.
All right. That question is a very interesting question. So what you can do is you can look out for grants. There are grants that sponsors businesses that are still yet to ideas, I would say, that are yet to become a full-fledged business. So you would go on Google, search for those grants. But then when it comes to grants, sometimes I'm very, very skeptical, because grants is very competitive. And at the end of the day, sometimes the processes are very long, but it is good because when you get that money, you're not going to pay back. So since you are passionate about it, you could sell this idea to your family member. Like, you mustn't tell them, oh, this is the process, this is the process, this is like selling off your idea. I mean, so no, you could tell them about this idea and then they could support you. For example, this biogas is a good one because I know of a man who was doing that before he relocated to Canada. Yes, that's this, and yes, just like you said, that is capital intensive. So if you can pull families together, family resources they could support, or maybe you could also work, like I talked about bootstrapping, like you work and then use it to sponsor your dream. Sometimes you may not do the whole production line, but you start the first step, and then after the first step, you then move to the next step. For example, when I started my research, the first challenge I had was that school labs, I could not do it in school lab. The first time I went to try it, in fact, their beaker almost broke, and the explosion almost happened too. So you could imagine that there was no lab around that I could even carry out that research. I had to start with my kitchen. I said on it. Now I needed money for research. I was thinking that, okay, since I even did a petition before Bayelsa State Governor that time, that maybe the state will be able to pull up something for me. But no, there was nothing like that. And I don't blame them because I believe that maybe they have their own policies. But at the end of the day, I had to talk to my family member that, oh, this is what I'm doing. And then everybody started contributing what into a vision that they don't even know the reality. And I also worked, I also saved money to make sure that, okay, this is this, and thus far it has been a progress. So I think you should do that. And particularly too, I believe also in prayers, because sometimes our strength can fail us. You don't even know where your next helper could come from, but God knows how to connect you together. So do your part, play your physical part as if you don't pray, and pray as if you don't work. Thank you.
Thank you for your response, Miss Favor. Sekinat, can you confirm that your question was answered sufficient?
Yes, please. Yes, very well. Thank you so much, Miss Favor.
Perfect. So now I'm checking once again. Is there anyone else that has any questions for our facilitator? Okay, I can see no hands. Excuse me. In the absence of none, Miss Favor, do you have any questions for for our participants? Do you have anything you'd like to tell them to do? Do you have any particular issue or something that you'd like them to avert their minds to?
Yes, yes, please. I would want anyone working on a particular project to please tell us your inspiration behind it, and then maybe that you have a particular point where you need us all to contribute to, like, okay, an idea, what you think should be the next thing. I think you could raise your hands because, well, this is a full-fledged house, and 19 of us in this room all have experiences from a different background. So this could be a platform.
Yeah, I actually do love this idea. Thank you for bringing that on board. So if you have anything you're currently working on, if you have an idea that you probably need people to join hands with you or anything at all, Miss Favor, like, just give an open room or an open floor for you to express yourself. This is one of the things that trainings like this um offers you the opportunity to connect with other people, to rub ideas, to rub minds, and to collaborate, more importantly, because a lot can be gained from collaboration. So now you have the floor. If you're working on anything or you need particular expertise, and you think that if you put it out here, you may be able to get some sort of response, for sure, please, this whole training is an avenue for you to not just build yourself, not just increase your knowledge, your knowledge base. It's also for you to do something tangible with regards to your ideas, with regards to your business. So, yes, I can see some few hands raised. Cool. Adeke Lua, you can go ahead. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Miss Favour. That was really brilliant. Okay, so my project, basically, I'm combining agriculture with circular economy and also using that to train the next generation. So I'm working on a school gardens project, and where I'm using upcycling old buckets, tires, and basically turning plastic into gardens. And the project is divided into three phases. The first phase, we started the pilot part where we've gone to a school and they accepted the project. So we're looking to partner with people that are willing to, first of all, provide expert knowledge on, recycling plastic to gardens, the procedures, as well as people that will give us seeds and fund the project to be able to get to other schools, at least in Ibadan or your state where I am currently staying. Thank you.
All right. So that's a beautiful project. And then this project, I want to ask two questions. How many organizations, how many NGOs have you identified that their policies supports this? And how many letters have you drafted?
Okay, thank you very much. I actually just started last month, and basically this August is where we want to do we're trying to like plan for the next school year. So it's this August that I want to do planning with my team. It's not just me, I have a team. So I've not written any letter yet, but I identified a particular organization which are also involved in school gardens, and they're going to get back to us on that, but they also bought into the idea. Thank you.
All right. So for that, I think you could go on ChatGPT, you could go on Google and just search for organizations that support um, and gardens on waste product like plastics. You would see a list of them. So some of them may add code, some of them would like to be part of it. But it's not bad that you even draft out letters to 20 organizations. That is how hardworking that is. I know that is a serious hard work, but at the end of the day, you would be able to get like five that'll be able to fund this vision. Apart from that, there are people around you too. Maybe some persons in the community you associate with. Maybe some persons go to the mosque, some persons are Christians. There are people you interact with, that okay, they actually sponsor things like this. And you could even tie it to supporting young mind, because people always want to be part of nurturing the next generation. So you could tie it to something like that, and they just have this feeling like, okay, I'm supporting the next generation, even if it's nothing much. They could support those little support, but at the end of the day, if you can get from different people plus the organizations coming, that is going to make your project a big one. Thank you. So if I answered your question very well, or you have another thing to say, you could bring it in, and maybe the next person could ask. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. I will definitely do what you said. It's very timely. Thank you so much, Ma.
You're welcome there.
Thank you, Miss Favor. I do like your response to Miss Adeke Olua. And to you, Miss Adeke Olua, I actually do I commend you for the project that you have embarked on. It's a really good one. It's an innovative one, and it's definitely a step in the right direction to, nurture the next generation of young people that would be conscious of climate change, environmental sustainability, and climate innovation in their day-to-day affairs. So, per what you said about seedlings, I took that like I heard that part, and I'll just say that if you were in climate smart agriculture track, I think it would have been easier, but nonetheless, you're still a part of this program. And so I would encourage you to just keep up with your diligence with this training. Personally, I can say that you have been attending consistently. I do not know how you have been faring with your post-session activities and with your learning journals. So your learning journal, yeah. So straight to it, it's just I would advise you to okay, at some point you can reach out to your community manager and let her know of the project and let her know that this is the stage you're at and this is what you need. I'm saying this because we have one of our partners that may be able to provide seedlings for our participants. And that is why I said that, oh, you're not in climate smart agriculture, because that partnership is directly or is specifically for those in the climate smart agriculture track, and that's if we're able to pull that off, right? So if we're able to pull that off, definitely we can also take you into consideration as one of the participants that would be able to get seedlings from this our partner. So I do hope that the partnership works through, and if it does work through, then definitely you can be part of the consideration. But I would encourage you once again that you should keep being diligent. Also, Deborah, we're going to take you right about now. I'm just going to remind you all that in the chat, there is your post-assessment form. Please do not forget to fill that. Go into the chat, get the link, and fill your form. Thank you. So, Deborah, you can unmute your mic and ask a question.
All right, thank you so much, Ma. So thank you so much for the session this evening, and I'm really glad I attended this, though I was disconnected for a while. So the project I'm working on currently, I'm working on a project in Uromi, Edo State on waste management. So there are three phases of the project. The first phase, because in Uromi, during rainfall and everything, they dispose the refuse directly into gutters. And one of the problems that I identified is that there are no strategic waste bins at strategic positions in Uromi, Edo State. And also there is no like recycling plant here in Uromi, or there's no recycling plant here in Uromi. So the first phase of the project was to conduct awareness and cleanup, which we did. We just concluded that today we did cleanup and awareness, and it was supported by some organizations like the Waste Museum and Plug in Nigeria. But now the second phase of the project is actually to place strategic bins to place bins at strategic positions in Uromi. So, but that's not just the only issue right now. So the issue of getting funding for the bins and also removing the refuse from there, like subsequently, because if we just place bins at strategic location and we don't have like ways of evacuating it, it's going to cost nuisance more than it has even cost before. So that's one of the issues that I think I'm kind of encountering now. And yes, also after that, that's not like just the end. Also to get a recycling plant here in Urum, because I feel like if there are recycling plants if there's a recycling plant here, there will be ways to recycle some waste like the textile waste and all of that with the plastics and all of that. It will even be easier. That way people will know that okay, if I get these plastics, like if I get so number of plastic and I take it to recycling, so I'm just now seeking for suggestions on what to do actually. Somehow.
All right, that's a good one, and it's very practical. So you are a social innovator. So for Uromi is not far from Abraka, Delta State, Abraka. At Abraka, there is a recycling plant there that buys plastic waste. And for example, 1 ton of it, as at some months ago, I don't know the current price now, 1 ton of plastic waste is costing about 530,000 naira for 1 ton. And also at Port Harcourt, there's also a recycling plant. They have taken some plastics there about they buy in tons. So if, for example, you want the contacts to these companies, I could share it with you, and then you and your team just organize, put these plastics together, make sure it's up to 1 ton because they buy in tons, and then you talk with them to know the exact type of plastic they buy, if it's green one or just the white one. But most of them buy the white one, the one from Coca-Cola companies and all of that. Those are the ones they buy. So it's just for the organization, you and your team to plan together and see how you could be selling this thing off on behalf of these people and then give them theirs and then cover for transportation. This is how business starts. Yes. And from there, money could even be generated for this trash bin, this trash can you're talking about. And part of the answer to your question was also part of um, the person that asked first, where we were mentioning that she belongs to some communities like place of worship and some other communities. Maybe there are some communities you belong to that you could also reach out to them if you then align the project to their type of interest. So that is what I have to say for now. And the the floor is open for anyone who has another answer to her. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ma.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you, Miss Favor. And it's good that you asked your question, Deborah. So personally, from my end, I would just add that you can look out for organizations that are into recycling or recycling plants that are not even in the East. So one way to go about it is, first of all, look at other youth-led organizations that are doing what you do, and you can then reach out to them and ask them how they went about theirs. Of course, I understand that their process may not be entirely replicable for you, but they could definitely share you some insights that would be useful for you. And this is also to say that I do understand the problem of, oh, it's not the same, things are not the same everywhere across Nigeria. So just like Miss Favor has said, please do reach out to her so that she can share you the contact of these people that are in Port Harcourt and in the other place, so that you can work out some sort of partnership with them. So with that being said, Miss Favor, kindly do post in the chat whatever platform or social media handle that you're more comfortable with, so that our participants can connect with you and reach out to you if they have like further questions or clarifications, and also specifically for Miss Deborah. So good. Can you help us do that? Also, last reminder, your post assessments and attendance is in the chat. So do well to fill that before you leave this room. Thank you, Miss Favor. Our email address is already in the chat. So you can reach out to her at Ojieh Favor. So right about now, we're going to the last business of the day. I want to see the faces of the person who would like to visit China, the other person that would like to be in France, and also the lady that would love to go to Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Turkey. Yeah, all of you. Yeah, this is the time where you turn on your cameras. We are going to take a picture now. Yeah, and the lady that wants to go to Greece. Hi, Beatrice. Miss Favor, Shalom, hello. Gertrude, Adeke, hello. Yeah. Hi, Joy. Joy Welly. I think you're the one who wants to go to is it China? Or no. You did say Dubai, right?
I did.
Dubai. Hi. I can see the little girl there. Don't worry, it will be your turn someday. Hello. Hi, Janet. Hi, Deborah.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Miss Favor. Hi, Shalom. Hi, Geraldine. Geraldine, I want to get, so you joining us from Rwanda or Kenya? Hi, Miss Geraldine, if you're saying something, I think you're muted, or you can just drop it in the chat, sorry. Are you joining us from Kenya or Rwanda or where? Sorry? Okay, I see that you're trying to say something. Unfortunately, I cannot, make your words. So you can just drop it in chat. Yeah, call Miss Rachel. Thank you. Miss Gertrude, Miss Hamsatu, Miss Taiwo, we're also waiting for you all. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. I also want to look good in the picture, so I'll take my time. Yeah, Shalom, well done. Okay, very well. I've taken all of that. Thank you once again, Miss Favor, for joining us. We did enjoy your session, and we are grateful for you for accepting our invitation. I wish you good luck in your endeavors, and I hope that we're able to connect better after today. Thank you all for joining. You can now return to the main room. We're done with this session, and that would be till next week. Yeah, Miss Joy, Kolakov, Beatrice, Hamsatu, Deborah, you can all return to the main call.